Yes, good morning, everyone. So in the last class, we discussed about the importance of regulation, having regulation in the derivative market. So while discussing, we saw that there is a very much required of one regulation body which take care of the legal procedures which are involved in derivative market. So because of a transparency in the transaction and the right order of claims, transactions, and then the integrity of the market. To maintain integrity of the market, there is a need of regulation body. So in the last class, we discussed the importance of having regulations for any type of market, especially we discussed for the derivative market. So in today's class, we will discuss what are the regulation body we have in India for derivative markets and what are the basic guidelines for clearinghouse corporations or broker in derivative market issued by these regulatory bodies. First, we'll see how the framework of derivative market in India works. See, this is the framework of our derivative market. We have two types of derived market. One is a financial derivative. The other one is commodity derivative. So financial derivatives and commodity derivatives. So you know what do you mean by financial derivatives? Financial derivatives means where underlying assets are financial instruments only. Financial instruments like stocks, index, then currencies and interest rates. So all those are financial instruments. So whatever the contract take place under financial instrument are called financial derivative, and the place where financial derivative happens it's called a financial derivative market. And we have another market called commodity futures or commodity future market. Here we deal with commodities like agricultural product or gold, silver, billions like that. Only commodities are deal. Here in financial derivative markets, financial derivative market regulated by two bodies. One is SEBI, Security Exchange Board of India, and other one is the Reserve Bank of India. And SEBI will take control of those transactions which take place in the stock market, and Reserve Bank of India will take care of or monitor all those transactions which take place over the counter. Over the counter means which is not happening in the stock market, other than the stock market, whatever the future or option contract is take place. So that whatever the rules and regulations related to those transactions will be monitored by the Reserve Bank of India. And we have commodity future market. In commodity future market is completely regulated by the forward market commissions. So therefore here we have three regulatory bodies. One is SEBI, then Reserve Bank of India, then forward market commission. SEBI will monitor those transactions which take place in the stock exchanges. Reserve Bank of India will take place those financial derivatives which is take place not in stock market but other than stock market. It may be in banking or non-banking institutions. And commodity features are completely regulated by the forward market commissions. So we'll understand what do you mean by financial derivatives market. The financial derivative market is in India regulated and controlled by Security Exchange Board of India. And here, since SEBI authorized under SEBI Act, uh, yeah, what are the transaction will take place under financial derivative market. So one is, as I said, that is a pure financial instrument like stock options and futures, stock futures, index futures. then index option and interest rate futures, currency forwards, currency forwards and futures, financial swaps, etc. So all those transactions are called financial derivatives. And it also take care of badla trading. So this is the actually this is the older concept badla trading. You may heard about what do you mean by badla trading. See, for example, I enter one contract. Uh, Take example of uh, future contract. I entered future contract which will be expiring on by the end of this month. Consider on 28/7 2021 is the expiry date for one transaction I entered. So that means on that date I have to exercise my contract. So that is the rules actually. But what happens sometime I if I do not have money, for example, I took a long position. So that means on the expiry date I have to give cash to the seller and I have to purchase underlying asset as per the contract. If I do not have money on the expiry date, so as per badla trading, by giving an extra commission, so badla charges, we call it as badla charges, by paying an extra amount, badla charges, contango, or it is also called as contango. So by paying extra amount, badla charges, I am carry forwarding my transaction. I am carry forward. That means, so here the expiry date for my contract is on 28/7. So what I can do by paying extra amount, I can carry forward for the next month. So that means I do not, that means I can, there is no need to exercise my contract on 28/7 2021. I can carry forward to the next month. The expiry period will be carried forward by paying an extra amount. So all those transactions and financial derivatives are taken place in the financial derivative market. And here, see, one is equity and carry forwards are the two important contract will take place in the financial derivative market. So you know what do you mean by equity futures? Yeah. As we discussed, there will be two types of derived market. One is exchange traded derivatives and over the counter derivatives. So you know what you mean by exchange traded derivatives. Exchange traded derivatives are those derivatives that are traded through specialized derivative exchanges. That is BSE or NSE. And over-the-counter derivatives are those which are privately traded between two parties and involves no exchange or intermediaries. It may take place between two parties privately. For example, swaps, options, a forward contract traded over the options of currency. Forward contract are traded over the counter derivative market. And we have commodity futures market regulated in the forward market commission. So these are the, in particularly commodity futures, we deal with agriculture product like potato, peppers, cotton, etc. or rice. So these are two important. See, Coimbatore Commodity Exchange and Calcutta Commodity Exchanges are the two important uh, exchanges for the commodity market. And what are the guidelines issued by the SEBI for derivative trading? So there are some of the major guidelines are there for derivative trading. See, this one, the regulation body is set up by the committee report of LC Gupta. So as per the committee report, uh, they framed one legal the legal constitution, where it explains what are the rules and regulation the exchanges or the derivative brokers have to follow under derivative trading. The first one here, any exchange fulfilling eligibility criteria prescribed by the, that means if any exchanges, if they want to start derivative trading, they have to get permission from the SEBI. So which is prescribed as per the report under LC Gupta. So which comes under the section of the 4 of the Security Contract Regulation Act 1956. So whoever interested to start derivative trading, that means exchanges, first they have to get permissions. And again, there are conditions. So while doing so, they have to maintain separate governing council. For example, one exchange, they are dealing with cash market also, and they are dealing derivative exchanges, derivative contract also. So at that time, they have to maintain separate governing council for derivative market, and their member here the limited to a maximum of 40% of total member of the governing council. That means representation of clearing members. So there will be trading or clearing members. So the representation of the clearing members will be limited to maximum of 40%. For example, there is 100 members are in governing council of derivative exchange. That out of 100, not more than 40 should be the representation of the clearing house corporation. And the exchange shall regulate the sales practice of its member and will obtain prior approval of SEBI before start trading in any derivative contract. And next one, the exchange shall have a minimum of 50 members. So as I said, there is a minimum number of 50. Maximum it may be vary, but the minimum number should be 50. And out if any exchange have 50 members, out of 50 members 40% should be the representation of the clearing house corporation. Then the member of an existing segment of the exchange will not be automatically become member of the derivative segment. As I said, so who first normally any exchange will start with cash market or equity. So if that exchange, particular exchange or existing segment of exchange is already member, particular, for example, NSE is already the member of equity segment. Equity segment. It does not means it can also become the member of the derivative segment. For that, for to uh, to become the member of the derivative segment, they have to apply separate, and the member of the derivative segment need to fulfill the eligibility conditions laid down by the LC Gupta committee. Yeah. And the next one, the clearing and settlement of derivatives trade shall be through the SEBI approved clearing corporation house. So here, as I said, we discuss the flow of trading, in derivative market. There will be buyer and seller. Buyer and seller will be contact their broker, and broker have their representation in the clearing house, and clearing house one panel, and clearing house is responsible for exchanges. So here the clearing house, the derivative contract should take place, or it will be valid only when that clearing house corporation is approved by the SEBI. So we have to very careful while trading the derivative market. We have to check whether our broker is listed in the exchanges. So this is very important. So the clearinghouse and settlement of derivative trade shall be through SEBI approved clearinghouse corporation. And next one, derivative brokers, dealers, and clearing members are required to seek registration from SEBI. This is addition to their registration as broker of existing stock exchange. Yeah. The broker, derivative brokers or dealers and clearing member, they have to get registration from SEBI. So, and in addition to their registration as a broker, there is two position for the broker. One is as a broker and another one as a member of the exchanges. So if they already registered as a broker, then they have to get the registration as a member from the SEBI. So that is the compulsory rules. And for to become the member of the clearinghouse corporation, sorry, to become member of exchanges, there is some condition. That means the net worth of such clearinghouse corporation shall be rupees 300 lakhs. The network of members shall be is compared the minimum amount, the net worth we call net asset. The net worth should be 300 lakhs. Then only they can apply for registration as a member. So the net worth is calculated with the help of their capital plus free reserves undistributed minus non-allowable assets. See here, exchanges is normally the Bombay Stock Exchange. It is a limited company, means public limited company. It is treated as a public limited company. So the net worth should be 300 lakhs. That is capital plus free reserve minus non-allowable asset. And here, what are the non-allowable assets which we should exclude while calculating the net asset? Those are the fixed asset of the clearinghouse corporation, their building, their lands. That should be excluded while calculating the net asset. And pledged securities, if any securities they mortgage for the loan, those are the security pledged securities should be excluded. And members card and unlisted securities, some of the if any securities are unlisted by the SEBI, then we should exclude those all. Then the bad deliveries, then doubtful debts and advances, prepaid expenses, intangible assets, 30% of marketable securities. So all those we should exclude while calculating the net worth of the clearinghouse corporation. And the next conditions are the minimum contract value shall not be less than 2 lakh. So presently we same conditions is applying. That is the minimum contract of the contract is 2 lakh. So we know that there is a lot size. So depending upon the uh, uh, this condition, that is 2 lakh, so they fix lot size. They have to see that the total value of the contract should not be less than 2 lakh. So based on that, they fix the lot size. For example, if the market price of that one securities is 300, then 2 lakh divided by 300, they will see how many units should include in one lot to maintain this particular conditions. And exchange should also submit details of the future contract they propose to introduce. And the next conditions or the next regulation, that is the initial margin requirement and exposure limit linked to capital adequacy and margin demands related to the risk of loss on the position shall be prescribed by the SEBI exchange from time to time, especially in fixing initial margin. So this is fixing initial margin is by SEBI. SEBI, they will change from time to time. So that is entirely depending upon the risk exposure of that particular and their capital adequacy. Whether they have enough capital, then they will keep minimum initial margin. And if they do not have enough capital adequacy, then they will fix high margin. Likewise, if particular stock is high risk exposure, then they will keep high margin. If particular stock is less risk exposure, then they keep less initial margin. And it will change from time to time. Then LC Gupta committee report requires strict enforce know your customer KYC. So this is for every financial institution and non-financial institution, even banks and non-banking institution also. They have to follow KYC. They should get every detail of their client. They should know about their client. So this is the basic conditions for a derivative market. And derivative trading takes place through an online screen based trading. So every now and then they will do a screen based online screen based trading system. And yeah, the derivative exchange segment shall have online surveillance capability to monitor position, price, and volume on real-time basis as to deter market manipulation. So the quotation of the price for the for the derivative, it should be at on regular basis, and it should be disclosed a real time basis. Mean for every second, anybody who are interested to see what is the price, they can see. So such an arrangement should be there for derivative exchange segment. So by that, even a regulatory body, they can scrutinize the orders and the transaction from time to time to control or to detect the market manipulation. And the derivative exchange should have arrangement for the dissemination of the information about trade quantities codes. So this is similar to the previous point. They have to the derivatives exchanges, they should disclose every information about trade quantities codes and real time. So there will be they should maintain a transparency in the price disclosure or quantity disclosure. And for that purpose they should maintain at least two information vending network, because if any one network is failed to disclose, they should have backup. So therefore they should maintain at least two information vending network which are necessarily accessible to investor across the country. And the derivative exchange segment should have attribution and investor grievance redressal. So that means they should have separate mechanism uh, which monitor or which handle the grievance, the problems. Is it not audible?
Audible, sir.
My voice is not audible.
Audible, sir.
Sir.
Audible, no?
Sir.
Okay, someone. Subhashri Naik, I think. Okay. The derivative exchange segment should have satisfactory system of monitoring investor. So at this point we discussed if whatever problems is faced by the clients or sometimes even the brokers. So there should be a separate uh, grievance redressal mechanism, means a mechanism handling disputes of it may be between clients, it may be between clients and broker. So there should be a separate mechanism. And the next one is the derivatives exchange segment should have satisfactory system. Yeah, investor complaints and preventing irregularities in trading. And it says the derivative segment of the exchange would have a separate investor protection fund. So why they should have a separate investor protection fund? See, sometime what happens, the other party may breach the contract. For example, in option contract, one party entered. See, if by the end of the experiment, if other party breach the contract, here the role of clearing corporation, they have to maintain or they have to give cash to the other party out of investor protection fund, or any loss occur due to the network failure or technical problems. So then the exchange is held liable for compensation of such loss. So at that time, the exchanges will give the money from the investor protection fund. So therefore, derivative exchange segment also, they have to maintain their own separate investor protection fund. And the next one, the clearing corporation hall shall perform full novation, that is as a middle party. They have to act as a counterparty, third party. So that means here in future and option contract, buyer do not know about the seller and seller do not know about the buyer. Here the clearing house corporation act as a counterparty. Counterparty means for buyer, the clearinghouse corporation will be the seller, and for the seller, the clearinghouse corporation will be the buyer. So they take positions as opposite position for the clients, and they have to settle in a proper manner. And the next one, the clearing corporation shall have capacity to monitor all the overall position of member across both derivative market and underlying securities market for those members who are participating in both. So clearinghouse corporation, they have to act, they have to monitor overall position, that is member across the both the derivatives market, for example, financial derivatives and commodity derivatives, and the underlying securities market for those member who are participating in the both. And the next one, the level of initial margin on index future contract. So if you see the level of initial margin on index future contract is a little bit higher when compared to the initial margin for the stocks. So it is always the value, the concept, the value of that contract is always at risk. So therefore, they should careful, and that means they have to apply the concept of called value at risk while calculating the level of initial margins. They have to follow the concept of value at risk. Uh, they have to keep in mind the risk exposure for index future contract is always high. By keeping in mind that point, they have to fix initial margin amount, and it should be a position on 99% of the days. Next one, they every clearing corporation should have a facility of electronic fund transfer, that is quick transfer for um, payment. Nowadays, every exchanges have electronic fund transfer through online. We can transfer our money, that is immediately within second we can transfer money. And the next one, in the event of member defaulting in meeting its liability, clearinghouse corporation, as I said here, clearinghouse corporation, they act as a counterparty. So if any member is default, that means member is failed to settle money to the clients. If member is failed, member means broker, a member is failed to settle the money of the client, at that time the clearinghouse corporation held responsible to close out all the open positions. And here clearing corporation should have capabilities to segregate initial margins deposited by clearing members for trades their own account and an account. Uh, and again here, the responsibility of clearinghouse corporation. It is the responsibility of clearinghouse corporation to receive the initial margins deposited by the clearinghouse members. Sometimes their own account, sometimes they act on behalf of their clients. Whatever, at, at that time, the clearinghouse corporation, it is the responsibility of clearinghouse corporation to take the margin money and to maintain trust for their client purpose. And the next one, the clearinghouse corporations allow separate a trade guarantee fund for trade executed on the derivative exchange segment. The clearinghouse corporation, they have to maintain separate trade guarantee fund along with investor protection fund. So this is particularly to settle the transaction open position, to settle open position if the member is what defaulted. If the member is defaulted, to settle those transactions, they have to maintain trade guarantee fund. And presently, SEBI has permitted derivative trading on even in BSE, and but we can deal F&O only in NSE. And what is the RBI guidelines for derivative trading? So there are some transactions which take place over the counter market, not in stock market. For such transaction, what are the guidelines issued by the RBI? So this is set up by under the chairmanship of R.V. Gupta to review hedging through international commodity exchange. So there are some recommendation is given for such transaction. That is, the first one is all Indian companies with genuine commodity price risk exposure be allowed to hedge through offshore commodity futures and options market. All the Indian companies which who wants to hedge their risk exposure, they are allowed to go for commodity futures and option, and the central government should grant permission for such hedging transaction. Such hedging means future and option market. So first, central government should give permission to those companies to go for hedging transaction through futures and option. Then RBI should grant necessary exchange control permission. So any company who wants to go for hedging, that is with the help of commodity future and option, they first get the permission of central government, then they should get permission of RBI. Then only hedging contracts for genuine price exposure through international markets should be allowed, and not the speculative profit seeking objectives. So this commodity future and option will be used uh, only for hedging purposes to minimize the risk involved in their business. So this is not allowed for speculative purpose. Speculative means to make profit. So they can use only for hedging purpose. They cannot be used for making profit. And over the counter instrument like vanilla swaps would only be permitted where they have only efficient means of hedging. So there is one concept called swaps. Swaps means it is nothing but exchange of responsibilities. So vanilla swaps means, um, for example, I took one loan. I took one loan at a fixed rate of interest. At a fixed rate of interest, and Mr. B took loan, same amount of loan for floating rate of interest. So two different types of loan. One is fixed rate of interest and other one is floating rate of interest. Here, uh, I am thinking that in the future, the rate of interest on loan will be reduced. So my thinking is in the future, the rate of interest will be fall or reduce. So, and other party, that is Mr. B, he is thinking that the rate of interest for the loan in the future will increase. So here, me and Mr. B, we enter into contract that we exchange our rate of interest. We exchange our rate of interest. That means I will take floating rate of interest and he will take my fixed rate of interest. That means he has to pay fixed rate of interest and I have to pay floating rate of interest. So, for example, in the future, if the rate of interest on such loan is reduced, then I will get profit. I will get profit. If the rate of interest will increase in the future days, the Mr. B will get profit. So such type of is called swaps, vanilla swaps, and it would be permitted where they have only efficient means of hedging. So when they, if there is efficient ways, means both the parties at the time of entering into contract, the value of the contract will be zero. So and at that time only they can go for swaps. Otherwise, for speculative purpose, it will not be allowed. And use of options would not be allowed. Only use of option would not be, only future contract is a future and swaps is allowed. The committee recommended a phased manner approach. This committee two phased recommended. In the first phase, the hedging should be ordinarily through exchange traded commodity futures and would be period accumulation, means there should be period of changing. The period of changing is called acclimatization. At this stage, prior approval would be required. To why it is required? To ensure the existence of genuine underlying risk, the appropriateness of the hedging instrument, and the adequate of risk management procedure. So that is in the first phase, the phase of changing. And in the second phase, there is no require of prior approval, and as recommended by in the phase 1, it should be needed. Only periodic scrutiny of actual transaction and auditors certification adequacy of control is sufficient. So in the phase 2, period regular check of actual transaction and auditor certification audited by the a chartered accountant, and his certification of adequacy of control is sufficient. And the next one, the committee further recommends that hedging should be allowed through foreign derivative market. So any company who wants to hedge by taking a foreign derivative market, it is allowed, but they should get a prior approval of RBI and SEBI. And the next one is for next legal framework is forward market commission, which take care of all those transactions of commodities, agricultural products, and bullions. Bullions means gold, silver, those are precious metals. So any transaction take place by taking those commodities are called commodity futures or commodity derivatives. And for commodity derivatives, we have separate regulatory body that is called Forward Market Commissions. So it is established in 1953 under provisions of Forward Contract Regulation Act 1952. And we here there will be a 2 to 4 members which will be appointed by the Indian government. Currently, we have 22 commodity exchanges in India, and out of which 3 are national, including National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange. And earlier it was under food, FMC, Food and Public Distribution, under the Finance Ministry of Consumer Affairs. It comes under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs because agricultural product will be considered as a consumable goods. So it was under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. Later in the year 2003, there was a debate was going on that this particular contract will be should be take place under the monitor of SEBI and Forward Market Commission. They plan to merge Forward Market Commission and Security and Exchange Board. They plan to merge to frame a new policy for commodities. But due to no clear consensus for this move, it was dropped there. Then forward later a later date of Forward Contract Regulation Act 1952, which frame the rules and regulations for the commodity market. So what are the responsibilities and functions of the Forward Market Commissions? See here, first one is to advise the central government in respect of the recognition or the withdrawal of recognition from any association or in respect of any other matter arising out of the administration of the Forward Contract Act 1952. So here the Forward Market Commission, they have right to advise central government uh, to recognize any association or to de-recognize any association as per the Forward Contract Regulation Act 1952. And the second function is to keep forward market under observation. They will check the transactions of forward market, and such action in relation to them it is considered necessary. Exercise the power assigned to by its. So any forward they have to regularly check forward contract which take place over the counter market. Uh, they have to see, and they can take any action which comes under their purview, they can take only those transaction which can take action only on those transaction which comes under their purview. And to collect, and whenever the commission thinks it is necessary to publish information regarding trading condition in respect of goods to which any of the provisions of the act is made applicable, including information regarding supply, demand, uh, price, and to submit central government periodical reports. So here, forward commission market is responsible to collect the information regarding goods and demand and supply, the price of the underlying asset. Later, first they have to collect all those information. Later, they have to report it to the central government. They held responsible. They are accountable for the central government. They have to send report about working of forward market to the central government. And uh, next, the functions are to make recommendations generally with the view to improving the organization and working of the forward market. So they can give any recommendation to the central government to improve the process of organization or the process involved in the forward market. And the last one, to undertake the inspection of the accounts and other documents of any recognized association or registered association or any member of such association whenever it considered it necessary. So here forward market commission, they have right, they can check or they can inspect the accounts of any association recognized, means the exchanges, derived exchanges who registered under regulation act. So here forward commission, they can inspect, they can read, and they can read all the accounts, whether those association they maintain proper records, and if there is any manipulation in their accounts, if there is any malpractices involved, at that time they can take an action, they can take necessary action whenever it required. So these are the regulations which are involved in derivative market. So basically, we have three important regulatory bodies. One is SEBI, Reserve Bank of India, and Forward Market Commission. We discussed what are the regulations we have under SEBI, and we also discussed what are the guidelines issued by the Reserve Bank of India and Forward Market Commissions. Yes. Now, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Here, see, I completed first unit and last unit because both the units are theory. So that I completed last unit because second, third, and fourth units are practical. So it is very difficult to take a practical classes in online. So I prefer to carry forward. So if offsite classes started, then I'm planning to start on offsite classes only. We'll see what happens. If a lockdown continues, then I have to start practical classes. Yes, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Any doubt? Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.